What's up, family? Welcome to the Mental Game Podcast, man. This week, we talking about something very important, something everybody should have in their arsenal: self-control. All right, when we get back. Life's a mental game. You need the right mentality to survive. What's up, family? Welcome to another episode of the Mental Game Podcast, man, where we talking about self-control. Um, you know what I'm saying? I want to go ahead and say Happy New Year. Y'all just remember to not be selfish, but be self-preserving, because you got to take care of yourself first before you're able to take care of anybody else. And I got an in-studio guest today. She didn't want to be on camera, so she's sitting over here somewhere in this direction. I got my baby over here. I'll probably ask her a question or two. Um, because the topic today that I'm talking about, it kind of uh it really starts it really starts when you're young, man, where you got to learn self-control. You got to learn how to control yourself because at her age, saying she's about to start high school, there's a lot of peer pressure and there's a lot of need for self-control, at these kids at these ages, the estrogen and testosterone is running all high and stuff. So, I feel like that's very important. These kids nowadays, they like to fight more than ever. I don't think I ever witnessed. I mean, there was a lot of fights in high school, but it was like different people. But these kids is like these kids are crazy. They steadily going after each other. I don't know what's wrong with them. I'm gonna have to go tour the halls of the school one day. Me and my brothers go ahead and see what's going on in these schools, man. But let me go ahead and get into the featured product. The featured product of this week is the Mental Health Matters tea. And it features in the color of mental health, which is green, and that's included in one of my brand colors. That's another reason why the mind on the mind game controller is green, because green is the color for mental health. And I don't think I've ever told anybody that on the podcast or told anybody, that little minor detail. But yeah, that's why the mind is green on like all my logos and stuff. Um, Make sure y'all run down to mentalgame.net, MNTL GAME.net. Uh, we got a lot of good stuff on there, a lot of meaningful stuff on there. It's not just, stuff printed on the t-shirt. It's stuff that, either I or my designers came up with to just depict and kind of show support for mental health. Because here at Mental Game, we feel like that's very important, and that's what we're all about. But moving on. Okay, I got this question that I was asked. Like, has there ever been a situation where I totally lost it? Yeah, there's been plenty of situations where I totally lost it. A lot of times when I was younger, I used to totally lose it all the time. I was a loose cannon. I grew up in a stable but unstable home. You know, with my parents' backgrounds. There was a lot of trauma, both inflicted by family and both inflicted by the outside world. See, my parents were born in the 40s and the 50s, so it was a rough time back then for both of them. Even though my mom stayed in the north for most of her life, uh, they still dealt with a lot of adversity as far as racism, discrimination. My mom being both a female and both a black woman, that was she had to deal with racism and discrimination because she was a woman. And my dad and his family, we dealt with uh, a little bit of racism here and there because my family, if everybody on my family's on the Williams side, they know the family's background and why we dealt with what we dealt with. The Williams bunch was a wild bunch. I'm gonna just say that. But they both dealt with adversity, and uh, in the city that I grew up in, kind of you need self control in order to survive because it seems like everything is done off impulse. Now this was back then. I don't know how it is now. You know, me and my family, we've been staying in Houston ever since Katrina happened. We go back to visit family and stuff, but that's about it. Like as far as how the city is, I have to call up my brother Robert. Shout out to Rob. Get my little updates here and there, but like how the city is functioning now. But I haven't lived in the city in about now it's more than 15 years now. But I was 15 years old when Hurricane Katrina happened. But I say all that to say this, um, I don't think I was ever taught self control at a young age. Maybe by my mom, because my mom has a lot of self control. Dealing with dealing with four boys and one girl, so she had a lot of self control. But I believe when I was growing up, it was a lot of impulse decisions made. There's a lot of turmoil going on at the time, and self control wasn't a thing that was like on full display for me, the people around me and stuff like that. Everything was impulse. You act on what happens, and you know what I'm saying, and you just deal whatever aftermath follows then. But there's been plenty of times I lost it. Um, I was a little bit of a wild child. I could be content. I didn't really want to bother anybody. I didn't really like to be bothered. I took a big offense to being bothered, and I'm not bothering anybody. So, I was like when I came to Houston, I kind of calmed down because I looked at it as an opportunity to do something different and to be something different and finally focus on what I loved at the time, which was football. And that didn't pan out. All these little deals that we setting out here, they don't always plan out, and they don't always work how you want them. But I can sit here and say God had other plans for me. I'm here doing the podcast. I have a clothing brand as well as the podcast, and they coincide together. My daughter, she has her own business. Unicorn Kisses and Keepsakes. Um, I helped Terica start her business, SeriniTee Designs. That's who did all my merch and all my stickers that you see on my wall. So, um, we're not struggling. We actually been doing pretty good. Um, and that's attributed to the people that have always supported me and always had my back and always been in my corner. And for that, I appreciate y'all. But you know, I know I just went off on a rant, but self control, man, self control. Shout out to my brother and my sister in law, Chanel and Marcus. They kind of touched on this on their podcast, Life in the Deep. So make sure y'all checking out. My brother calls it the sister podcast because they kind of touch on everything, as far as like marriage, counseling, mental health. Um, it's I would yeah you can say it's Bible based. They're certified Christian counselors, Christian marriage counselors, and they're great people. And so y'all check out their podcast too. But shout out to my brother and my sister in law. They mentioned self control on their podcast, and that instantly stood out to me. Something important I needed to talk about on this podcast. You know, for the religious crowd, self control is one of the fruits of the spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the things that you know you need. You know, um, because self control to me is power. It's power. It's very powerful. You know, I had a friend of mine that had a situation at his job that it could have been prevented, but like I said, with all different walks of life, we all deal with different things, and a lot of us don't deal with our trauma, and a lot of us still have a little bit of that bad stuff lingering on, even though we functioning adults. That we got jobs, we lead lives, we have kids and stuff like that. Same situation with my parents. Um, he kind of lost it, and it wasn't totally his fault, but you can't give away your power. You can't let people, get under your skin, so to speak, and get into your head and control your mind and, you know, adversely, inadvertently control your actions. That can't be a thing that happens. That's why I look at self control as power, because once somebody gets under your skin and makes you react, at that point they control you. They control what you do. They control your outcome, your future. And my motto has always don't give away your power. Self control is powerful. You know what I'm saying? The ability just to not be bothered by negativity, that's powerful to me. And I know that's one thing I'm trying to teach my daughter is self control, because at this age, they're dealing with a lot of peer pressure in these schools. Uh, like I always tell Terica, I say, them damn fools we went to school with, and she was like, yeah. I say, they got kids now, and some of them got a lot of kids. You know what I'm saying? Some, and they weren't raised right, so what you think they do, they got kids and they got to raise those kids, you know what I'm saying? But it's a vicious cycle. I mean, it's not totally their fault or anything like that. It's just kind of like the I would say the way things were. um but nowadays, in the age of disclosure, 2020 and up, a lot of information is available. And I feel like, all these videos we watch on Facebook, if we know better, we should do better. We the information is there. 2020 opened the book on everything. As far as like, you know, help is out there. We just gotta go towards it. We just need to make that walk, make that effort, for us, not just ourselves, but our kids, what I'm saying, and the people around us. You know. Never let somebody take away your power. But the friend of mine, my brother, and he kind of let the situation kind of get the best of him. His boss was bothering him, and kind of got in his head and got under his skin, and he reacted because his boss put his hands on him, kind of put his hands on his shoulder, and he reacted. And I believe in that situation, if he had a little more self control, he wouldn't be going through, what I'm saying, the things he's going through right now. I don't want to talk about a whole lot of it, but it was a situation that probably could have been prevented. What I'm saying? A lot of times, uh, we get into a lot of, legal trouble because we have no self control. There's a lot of my brothers in jail right now. You know what I'm saying? Because they lack self control. And I'm like, by all means, man, did put this disclaimer out there. I'm not telling anybody to be um super and just extremely humble to where somebody's just, slapping you across your face and you just not doing anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, kind of put yourself in a situation, set yourself up to where that temptation is not there. Whether that's, moving around, separating, distance is always a good thing. Um, I'm not telling anybody to be a punching bag. You know what I'm saying? Because I teach my daughter, I tell her, you're not nobody's punching bag. No, don't let nobody hit on you. Don't hit nobody unless they hit you first. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even teaching those things to my own child. But, I do teach her to try to take those little avenues to try to prevent a fight, or her getting suspended, which can translate into the real word as her going to jail or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because she beat somebody up, or or worse, or something equal or lesser, to take time away from her life that could have been spent in the classroom. Um, but yeah, don't. That's why I'm so big on self control, because you know it's real out here. People, and then some people are betas. Some people will bait you into a situation because they know they can get you to react. They know you have no self control. People try to bait you into certain situations. Like I said, there's a lot of brothers in jail right now because, you know what I'm saying, they lack self control. You know, they let constantly let people get the best of them. So, with that being said, one some bits of advice I can give to my men and women out here lacking self control or not being able to really display that self control or have self control, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to call it, whatever title you want to put on it. I would say set clear rules, set clear boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Let people know, communicate. Communicate your boundaries, communicate the things that you don't like, or communicate how you feeling, communicating how what another person does make you feel. That's another reason why a lot of relationships fail and a lot of friendships fail, because communication is lacking. You got to be clear with that. You got to be clear with your boundaries, man. Um, you got to let people know what you like and what you don't like, because if you don't know, you don't know. But another thing, what I'm saying, remove the temptation. Separate yourself. Like I just said, distance can sometimes be a good thing. Um, separate yourself from the possible situation, or the person that's provoking you. And I know that's hard. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, we all got jobs. You know what I'm saying? We all work, and there's always that person that you know you got that workplace bully. You know what I'm saying? You got that boss that you feel like is always picking with you. We all got that person. I feel like there's a few people like that at my job. But, ever since I started driving, I don't really got to deal with them no more. But, they know who they are. But I just want to say also, um, just kind of create a boundary between you and those negative situations or those negative people. You know what I'm saying? Self control is a superpower. You know, I read a quote one day that said, "A man that's a master of self control is a master of everything." Because you can't be moved, you can't be provoked. People can't sway you into a negative situation if you got self control. And I firmly believe that. There's been a lot of times where I lack self control and it put me in a kind of questionable or kind of shaky situation. And now as I've gotten older, I'm learning more self control. Learning how to stay out of situations. And like I said, I'm not saying I'm like just extremely humble and extremely non-confrontational, whatever the case may be, whatever words or titles you want to put on it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I like to avoid unnecessary situations because I understand the power that I have. I understand the road that I'm trying to travel. I understand you know, what I'm risking if I let another person, you know, control my actions, you know, and in a way, that's what I mean. Yeah, I just lost my train of thought. I'm over here looking at my child. How you doing, baby? You okay? Good. Okay. Yeah, she's over there. She's over there keeping me company while I'm doing the podcast. um, we got some stuff to do later, but another thing, man. Another tip. Try to model positive behavior. Now, this can be dangerous because there's a lot of fakers out here. There's a lot of people pretending that they have it all together. Social media is real. What I'm saying? The imagery of social media is real. You got people out here pretending to have it all together, man. Like, I'm gonna need y'all to choose real role models, man. People that's, pay attention to people that's living the type of life that you live in positively. You know what I'm saying? I advise everybody, don't get caught up watching these celebrities and watching these famous people. Uh, because there's a lot of I mean, it's a lot of he said, she said, a lot of this side, that side. So, pay attention to people in real life, you know. Don't get caught up listening to these pretenders, these fakers, and all these other things that they got going on. And, choose a positive image to kind of model off of. a real image to a real person that's really out here living a positive life. I would tell, I have no problem with pastors, reverends, priests, anything like that. I have no problem with them. But, there's a lot of false prophets out here as well. I know a lot of people want to model themselves after pastors and priests and stuff like that. But, not a lot of them aren't who they say they are either. And I know that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. But oh man, you know, you just gotta know. You gotta find these real role models, like people that's really out here living the life that they say they living, not just get caught up in the fake life. But yeah, man, I don't really have too much to say today, man, because as self control is like pretty much straight to the point, man. You just can't let people get in your head and get under your skin, man. That's why I say life's a mental game. You need the right mentality to survive. You gotta have, like a how can I say it? What's the word? What's the word? What's the word, Nana? You gotta have like a I don't want to say sense of pride because pride is always looked at as negative. You gotta have a sense of fulfillment in yourself just to know that, hey, I'm not gonna let nobody, mess up my blessings or mess up my what I worked hard for. You know what I'm saying? Like a sense of I don't want to say entitlement either because entitlement is looked at bad. Um, you want to have a sense of entitlement and a sense of pride in yourself and what you done worked hard for to not let nobody trip you up and not let nobody um, you know, put their hands on your steering wheel of your life, so to speak, man. And I just want to continue to encourage my people to just, continue to find your people, continue to reach out for help if you need it. If you got somebody very near and dear to you, that's been an ear for you and that's living the life that they're trying to preach to you and teach to you, you know what I'm saying? I would say go with that person, you know what I'm saying, to kind of model your life after. I've been blessed to have met a whole host of people in my life that they live that life. They do what they supposed to do, and I met a lot of people that that don't necessarily do that. And what I do, I just do the opposite. You know what I'm saying? I just it's very easy to me at least. But like I said, I'm just off out here offering encouragement to my peoples, to my listeners, friends, family, whatever. Yeah, this one was pretty straight to the point, man. I don't have much to say, you know what I'm saying? I know these solo podcasts, they not meant to be long and drawn out. I kind of had a lot to say on these last two podcasts, but you know, self-control is pretty straight to the point, man. Maybe I need to do a part 2 with somebody. That way I can kind of feed off of, you know, their take on self-control. Um Next week I'm going to try to get one of my brothers in here, get him on the podcast, get him to yapping and stuff. So we'll do a part 2 to this. Um, but like I said, y'all remember, man, go on down to mentalgame.net, scoop you up something. Valentine's Day is coming up. I'm pretty sure I can cook up a little sale for Valentine's Day, man, so y'all can come mess with your boy and support my business, support what I'm doing, man. So go on down there to mentalgame.net. You know, might find something you like, find something near and dear to your life. We got not only do we have our featured product of the week, we got the mental health matters tea. We also got a whole host of other you know things. We got that king mentality, we got the queen mentality, we got the survivor mentality. Currently, uh, but yeah, that's all I got, people. That's all I got, family. I love y'all, man. Y'all be safe out here. I appreciate y'all who's listening. It wasn't too long. I ain't keep you too long today, man. Maybe the people that can't stay through the whole podcast. Maybe they stayed this time, man. But I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. And yeah, we'll do this again, man.